Hey, the better rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
Before we get started, if you'd like to support this podcast, go check out our friends at Slick Sleeve Syndicate. It's just a t-shirt company. Link will be in the description. Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders, the show that tells funny cop stories from real people who live them. I'm your host, Travis Harless. Today's guest is my friend Pete. Pete is a sergeant at a police agency in California. Pete, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been an officer? What did you do before you became a police officer? And what are some of the assignments you've worked since you've been a police officer?
Okay. I've been a police officer for about 20 years, give or take. And prior to being a police officer, I had two jobs. I worked at Taco Bell, a small Taco Bell Express, on the Grapevine for a long time. And then I worked at a golf course as a cart boy for a few years. So
people kind of hit you with the golf balls when you're
as I'm
motoring along?
Yeah. So we had the part on the driving range that would pick up all the golf balls, and it had metal screen all the way around it, and people would aim at you. Obviously, you aim at the guy that's driving this golf cart across the greens, and it would scare the shit out of me every time because it's so loud in the golf cart that I think I peed myself a few times.
Nice. And Taco Bell, huh?
Yeah, that's one of the times I became fat in my life was when I worked there because I would mess up a lot of orders on purpose. So I would get all my food for free, like 3 or 4 times a day during a 4-hour shift.
Nice.
All right, make Brutus Supremes and fuck them up, and then eat whatever was left behind.
Did you work in the kitchen area, or like the window, or the register, or?
So this was all of it. The food prep, and then the cashier, and then serving the food as well. So I will say that the beans come freeze dried.
Yep.
And so I never ate the beans at Taco Bell because it looked like rat shit.
Yeah.
As I poured it into the water, and that was it. Like, you're just pouring rat shit into water and mixing it and heating it up.
Wow.
So that's
the
meat
kind of like that too?
The meat comes vacuum sealed in a bag.
Okay.
It's already cooked, so you just heat it back up.
Oh.
How do you heat it up?
With my hands.
Just massage it.
Yeah, slowly in the
bag.
vacuum sealed package. It's there's a technique of turning it and massaging
a tube shape.
Yeah. When it's done, it just shoots out the top.
Oh, those spicy taco.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so you said that you were one of your times being fat. Well, how old were you when you went to the academy?
I was 22. I was one of the younger ones in the academy. We had Matt was a little bit younger than me. Amy was about the same age as me.
Yeah.
And then there was one other that left, but we were pretty young academy.
Now, you talked about there was multiple times that you've been fat. Tell us about that, I guess.
So just kind of ebbs and flows as I aged. The first time I got fat was around middle school, which is probably the worst time to get fat in your life. And I was that kid. I'm not sure if you guys had swim class in middle school, but I did. So I would wear the white T-shirt, which makes it worse because then you can see my tits better with this white
T-shirt. They have a whole contest with that.
Just clung to my tits in the swimming pool. So I made a lot of bad choices. I thought for a long time that if you wore a turtleneck when you were fat, it would
a slimming effect.
Well, one, it would be slimming, and two, it was cool. I was wrong on both counts. My mom was wrong because she was the one that told me I looked cool.
Yeah, that's not your fault. That's your mom's fault.
That's my mom's fault. So, but it also accentuated the double chin. To the fact that it would just like push out the fat over the top of the collar. And that was so. My brother. He was a police officer too, and
was Jess ever fat?
No, he was always super skinny. But we were the same size growing up, pretty much. Like height wise, he was 3 years older than me. But we would always wear the same clothes. But I would always be like shoved into the skinny clothes that he would wear, and my clothes were always super baggy on him. But he was like throughout my life always one of the reasons I would decide to lose weight, because he would call me fat ass every time he saw me. So yeah. He also, growing up, you had a brother too, so you may know about this. But sometimes when I would want to get into our room, because we shared a room growing up, and I was fat, he would make me do the truffle shuffle to get into the room, and if I didn't, he would try and beat my ass.
Nice. Oh, that's fucking.
Yeah.
So you in middle school were heavy, and Jess used to make fun of you.
Yeah, that was the first time I was fat.
Did you like play football?
Taco Bell didn't help, but I didn't get that fat because I worked out and played football.
Yeah.
So that always helped. I played football through BC, so that kind of kept me in shape.
Yeah. So junior college, through high school, junior college.
Yeah.
Were you offensive lineman?
Yeah. So I was big, but I was strong.
Yeah.
Strong. And then the second time was after the academy. So I got fat like right before the academy, because I think it's a natural progression when you're getting ready to go into the academy. They're like, either like I'm already fit, I'll be fine, or they'll make me fit. I'd gotten really fit leading up to about 6 months out, and then apparently just said fuck it and decided I dropped the ball. So my nickname at the beginning of the academy was Cheeseburger. When we would go on runs, and I felt like I wasn't that big. I was about 250, but I was the biggest one in the academy by far. And I think I lost like 40 pounds in the academy over the course of 6 months.
Nice.
And how tall were you, or are you?
6'1" ish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was distributed evenly.
So then when you graduate the academy and you get your Class A uniform, that's your slim fit Class A uniform.
Yeah, that was as good as it got for a while.
How long did that last?
So I did do Battle of the Badges right after graduation. So I trained for about 3 months. I lost a little bit more weight. One of the sergeants that was in the gang unit was training me how to box. So
yeah,
I did that. I lost some weight.
I never knew you did that.
Got
so
my ass
Battle
whooped.
of Badges is like a boxing, police officer versus officer boxing charity event. You said you got beat up?
Yeah. So the story behind this is I was training and I knew who my fighter was for 3 straight months. I would train all the time. We'd go back and forth, and I was getting the upper hand on this guy pretty much every week when we go into box. But there was this other guy that was training, and he was a probation officer, and he was like 6'6", 270 pounds. And I would spar with that guy to help him prep for his fight. And he was just knocking the dog shit out of me every time we would spar, like almost getting knocked out.
Yeah.
And so the day of the fight, I found out that the guy I was supposed to fight backs out. He doesn't want to fight anymore. The guy, the 6'6" guy, his opponent also backed out, so they put us together. And I was already like, this dude's gonna kick my ass. So I already went into the fight knowing like I'm gonna get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
So I didn't go down, but he pummeled me pretty bad. I had 2 black eyes.
Oh, damn.
On FTO the next day, because I was still on FTO and had to go into work the next day.
Oh, I bet you
and I
felt
had to
shit.
show into briefing, and I had 2 black eyes and a busted nose, and I had to explain to the entire shift why my face was all busted up and how I could disgrace the agency with a loss.
Wow. Yeah, it's like it takes a lot to just step in there and fight. So I never shame anybody for losing. I mean, shit. There's like a couple hundred drunk people in there yelling, and like, oh, those fuckers would get in there.
But they know exactly how you should fight.
Yeah, exactly. They could tell you how to do it better.
Yeah.
You should have just listened.
I probably needed a few drinks. And what sucks is if you're the last fighter, you don't get to drink at all, and then they just shut it down.
Yeah.
So I was the last fight, got my ass whooped, got 0 beer out of this entire thing, and then just had to go home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause the fighters are supposed to get like a free keg.
Yeah.
So
Keg?
yeah, after
There's
you
a
fight
keg in the back. Yeah.
you go back to like the
Oh,
fighter
yeah.
area,
Gotcha,
and then they
gotcha.
have a free keg. So
But
that way, after your fight,
everybody
you can
shares the keg.
Yeah,
Not like you get your own personal keg.
yeah,
Gotcha.
everyone
But that
shares.
shit's gone by the 15th fight. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What number fight were you?
I was in the middle when I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would suck too because you're just like waiting in anticipation the whole time.
the whole time, yeah.
I'd want to be
Just
like
sitting in the
number
back.
one out the gate. Just get this thing over with.
Yeah.
And just yeah. Wow. So then, so you lost some weight to go battle the badges, and then what happened?
And then I just ballooned back up.
You went ham.
Yeah.
What was your favorite fat guy meal, or what were some of them?
I think my favorite was a double Western bacon cheeseburger from
That's a good
Phillies
choice.
Jr.
Yeah.
or the bacon ultimate cheeseburger from Jack in the Box. Those were my
Last time you had one of
my
those.
go-to, probably about 10 years ago. But so one of our sergeants when I first started, his name was Mike, and he would for the longest time he had a nickname for me because one day we were driving around, me and Jeff, and we just got back from Del Taco and we were on a felony car stop, and he saw me during this felony car stop, and I'm eating this 44-ounce cup of crinkle cut French fries from Del Taco during the stop. So he would call me bucket of fries for the next 6 months.
Nice.
Dang.
Those are good too.
They were good.
That's a good. Yeah, Del Tacos.
You used to get like 29-cent tacos from there.
Hmm. Yeah, because they're open all night. Or Jack in the Box, the 2 for 99 cents.
Yeah.
They still have that, I think. I don't understand how they even make money on that. It's been that way for the last 30 years.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, so you gained some weight.
Yeah. So that was
What was your top number, like weight wise?
so I had a medical issue, if you can believe that, from the weight gain, and I had to go to the doctor, and this was during work, and at the doctor I weighed in at 297, and that was
okay.
the top. That was my top weight.
Oh, you never hit 3 bills, huh?
As far as I know, that day it may have been after the bathroom, but
Yeah.
it was not.
After
I never saw 300 on the scale.
After a Taco Bell cleanse.
Yeah.
That's what Ryan would call it. He would do these fits of he'll do carnivore. He'll eat just meat only for a while. And then when he cheats, like he'll cheat with Taco Bell. He's got like a Taco Bell weakness. I'm like, but he would tell me that it's not considered cheating when you eat Taco Bell because it just runs right through you. So he would call it a Taco Bell cleanse.
Yeah. That's the problem I have now is because I don't eat a lot of sugar anymore.
Yeah.
Is I had a donut. We were at CrossFit. We were working out, and somebody brought donuts for some holiday, and so I was like, all right, I'll have one donut. Ate one donut within like 3 minutes. I was shitting my brains out in the bathroom. I could not take it.
Yeah.
So now I know if I have donuts or sugar, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right. So then you got up to 297, and then at what point did you decide to shift gears?
There was a few things that contributed to my weight loss. One was Sergeant Ryan. He was one that also called me fat ass every time I walked into the game unit. And then my brother. But there's a few incidents I remember on patrol. There was one where we were doing a felony car stop.
Hold on, though. So you're saying that the bullying helped you?
Oh, that was a very positive influence in my weight loss. It was if you get called fat ass every day of your career as you walk in with your Taco Bell or your Jack in the Box, you're gonna start thinking about your life choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I am.
I'm cutting that out.
Yeah. He's like, I missed.
No, dude.
Trying not to make any jokes either.
What? Yeah,
So
what?
positive reinforcement worked for you. I'm
Positive-
glad. I'm glad.
Well, we can't start a pro bullying campaign here? on the
No, I'm
podcast?
talking about this.
What?
That other comment.
What? But,
This,
dude, don't get
this, is
soft
real,
on me.
this is real life.
Don't get soft on me.
I'm telling you.
Trying to pull some Gen Z shit on me.
I'm not even Gen Z. I'm 34.
Than you.
All right. So, anyways, they were calling you fat when you come to work, and while you would show up with your Taco Bell, and that was a motivator. And what was the other thing?
So I remember specifically one car stop. It was a GTA over off Bernard, and we were doing the felony car stop, and this female comes out, and so I do like the kneeling search of the female, get her back to the car, and put her in handcuffs. And so I'm grabbing her hands to do the double locks, and she just turns and looks at me dead in the eyes and says, "You have fat, soft hands." I was like, I had nothing because I did have fat, soft hands. I
You don't even
feel like
back.
just like a single tear, like rolling because it was true. It's like, God, you got me.
Cut me right to the soul.
Yeah, cut me deep. So that was that was one where I took it to heart and realized I need to make some changes in my life. There was another one. Sergeant Alex and I were partners in the gang unit, and I was driving, and we had been looking for this little gangster had done a shooting a couple weeks before. We'd been looking for him all over town. We're over by we're at this intersection, and I'm driving, and we drive right by this dude. And I look over and I say, "Oh, that's so and so."
Does this have to do with the attorney? I know this.
Yeah. Did he tell the story?
No, but I remember the attorney. We'll talk about it. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
So we drive by, and I was like, "Oh shit, Alex! There's the dude we're looking for. That's the guy that did the shooting." So we go up, we turn around, we get behind the car, and we start putting out of the radio. Hey, there's a 245 suspect in this car, and we're preparing to stop it. We're at this intersection. So it pulls over. To my surprise, I thought they were obviously going to run, but it pulls over. But there's about 4 or 5 in the car. Passenger, the one we're looking for, jumps out. He's gone. He's like a little track star. He's off to the races, running across this like 6-lane highway, and goes after him because he's on the passenger side, and I'm the driver. So I stay with the other 4 gangsters in the car. They get him in custody, ends up going to court sometime later, and I'm called up to testify, but I have no idea why I'm called to testify. I didn't arrest this guy. I didn't do any kind of evidentiary work for this case whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I go up on the stand, and I am fat at this point. And I'm testifying, and the attorney, who was El Salvadorian national, had a
real thick accent. Sometimes I thought he was the best player on our team.
I really enjoyed testifying against him. Because you're right, he was the worst attorney I'd ever met.
He was a terrible defense attorney.
Oh, he was the worst.
But he was hilarious.
I think he hated his clients.
Yeah, but he was hilarious.
So I'm up there, and he only asked me 2 questions. So I get up there, and he says, "Officer, is it true that Officer, sorry,
That's fine.
Officer Alex. Officer Alex is the one that ran after my client?" And I said, "Yes." And he looks at me, and he goes, and he grabs his belly because he was also fat, and he starts jiggling his belly. "Is that because he's faster than you?" And I lose it on the stand, and I can't answer him. And the judge interrupts and says, "You don't have to answer that."
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There was 3 questions.
So the judge took pity on you.
Yeah, he stops. It's like, "You don't have to answer that." That's
he put in his own objection.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. You don't have to answer that. And he goes, "Oh, okay, fair enough." But then he puts a picture of Eric on the screen on the display thing, and then he looks at me, just dead eyes. "Is it true that Officer Eric doesn't have a mustache in this picture?" There's no mustache. I was like, "Yes." He's like, "No further questions." What am I here for?
Yeah.
You wanted to make fun of me because I'm fat.
Yeah.
And then pull up this picture of another officer with no mustache.
This is kangaroo court. What the fuck you got me in here?
He's also the same attorney that made a Lego set himself and tried to introduce it as evidence as the scene of the crime.
Scene? Yeah. Lego set crime scene.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he had asked me one time, because
that dude has the tism.
No, there was one that had a touch of the tism for sure. Remember everyone's name and badge number?
Oh, Roger. Yeah.
Yeah. So that seems Rogers, yeah. Anyways. But no, Arturo was the attorney that you're talking about, and he used to always mess around and talk trash about you during that time on other unrelated cases. Or he was asking about you and your brother, and he asked me on the stand. This isn't your name, but it's close-ish. He would call you Beasley, and then he said, "Was it the asking about you? Was it the big Beasley, or the small Beasley?"
He
I
was
was like,
hilarious.
yeah, he was funny. I was like, well, actually, Jess is pretty big himself.
Yeah. I don't know if he still practices a lot, but he was terrible.
He was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were in for a good time, not
He also authored a few books.
Mhm.
And I remember he signed a copy for me for one of his books,
Yeah.
and he handed it to me. And the picture, like inside the flap, like the author picture, he's in an Indiana Jones hat, and he's pointing a gun at the camera, and he's got like a fake rattlesnake next to him on his desk.
Nice.
I was like, that's a badass picture.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Probably didn't sell any copies.
No.
Well, it was a fun time.
He gave some away.
Yeah. So it was a combination of getting called fat by your coworkers, getting called fat by a suspect.
Yeah, and a defense attorney.
And a defense
all
attorney.
kind of morphing into me realizing that it's about time I need to lose some weight.
So what'd you do?
So the first time I worked out, I was working with Danny in a special assignment. And he kept bugging me like day after day. Hey, dude, let's go over to the range. We'll go work out over at the range.
Mhm.
And finally one day I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll go work out with you.
Mhm.
And so I remember the workout. It was 400-meter runs and tire flips.
Mhm.
It was a partner workout. And I started on the tire flips, and then he started on the run. So I started doing the tire flips, and I get a few in, and I start feeling like all of my bowels start to drop. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. So I get like 3 or 4 in, and then he runs back from his run and so we switch. And so I get about 100 yards into this run, and then it's full evacuation. I'm going to shit my pants if I don't. So I sprint back past Danny to the bathroom at the range. And
do you do a full sprint? This is always a
this
question
is
I have.
fat as
I've had this happen to me, like when you're in the middle of a run and like you're like, oh no, I'm gonna shit my pants.
You know, when like it's like it's forcing like little toots out.
Yeah, but you have to factor into the equation. It's like the speed of which you run versus how much that activates an increased risk of shitting yourself.
Yeah.
You have to do a balance of like getting there quickly, but not going so fast that like you make yourself shit. So if you stop and you penguin walk your way back there, you know, you might be able to hold it in, but it's going to take a lot longer.
I'm not running very fast at that point
sense?
anyway because of how fat I am.
Yeah. But you could do the slow penguin walk. You can hold it longer, but it's going to take longer to get there.
Yeah.
But if you run faster, then it's more likely you're going to shit your pants.
Yeah. I feel like I knew about how much time I had before it was coming out.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hit the toilet, it was spray.
Yeah.
It was coming out as fast as it could.
Yeah.
So I was probably on the toilet for a good 15, 20 minutes. And this is summertime.
Yeah.
So I get out and Danny's still flipping the tire. And he's like, hey, what's up, man? Where'd you go? He's like, I had to shit. And I come back and I'm sweatier than him because I'm sitting there and I just got done shitting. Yeah, he's doing tire flips. He's not even sweaty. I'm just drenched in sweat because I was in the bathroom for 15 minutes just emptying my bowels.
Yeah. Maybe 2 dozen deviled eggs was a bad choice.
that ultimate bacon cheeseburger pre-workout was not.
Oh, what is it? It's got a good combination of protein and carbs.
Yeah.
The ultimate cheeseburger. Is that what Craig said?
No, that's the Baconator.
Oh, Baconator. Yeah. Perfect pre-workout meal.
Yeah. He had a similar instance when we were at a bomb class down in LA. We were in LA traffic off the 405 and we're driving back. And I went to go work out. This is slimmer me. I worked out. So he's like, I'm not going to go work out. So he runs to Wendy's while I'm working out, comes back, and he's eating this Baconator while he's telling me how stupid I am for staying over and working out. And we get about 30 minutes into this car ride in LA traffic. And it just drops. He's like, oh, and like he like gets on one ass cheek, off to the side, and he's clenching as hard as he can. He's like, I got to shit. And we were
Just parked
quite a
on the
ways.
405.
Yeah, quite a ways, and just dead stop traffic.
Yeah.
And he was sweating the entire time, could not get comfortable. He's like putting in a park, like turning around in his seat.
Yeah.
And then we finally get close, and he just starts running lights. Gets all the way back, and then parks in the valet spot, and then just jets into the hotel and takes a shit in the lobby bathroom.
Yeah.
And just leaves me there. I'm just sitting in the car waiting for him.
Yeah.
For like 20 minutes as he shits his baconator out.
Good.
Yeah.
Good job.
Blend right there.
Good job on the baconator. So anyway, so you started working out with Danny when you were doing FBI task force.
Yeah, so that was my introduction to working out. That was my first workout, and then that didn't go well. And then I think I just started going back to one of the local gyms because all I really knew at the time was to do cardio to stop being fat. So I would do like my fasted cardio, and then at first it was just cutting out soda and ultimate cheeseburgers.
Yeah,
and that seemed to work for a while. And then I remember I got into training a while later, and me and you had gone on a recruitment trip. I was about a year into working out at that point, and pretty sure you were wearing your white short sleeve button up T-shirt with your tie, and you had your little name placard, and it said "Brother Harless," and that's when you introduced me to CrossFit.
Oh, okay. So where are we going with this? Yeah. So you have any white button up T-shirts? Yeah.
But yeah, that was 4-hour car ride down, and then we did the recruitment event, and then back, and
then we went to the workout one morning. I remember you had another bowel movement incident that day.
Probably. Yeah. But that's I remember that's when I'd started doing CrossFit, and I went to work out with you one time, and I laid on the ground for a while and contemplated life.
Yeah, there was a bunch of box jump overs that day. I remember.
Yeah, it was hard to recover from.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
Yeah,
and then you were just off and running from there.
After that, yeah.
Well, because you had lost a bunch of weight at that point, because you'd been working out, like you said, for like
I'd
a
been
year.
Down to like 240 or 250 at that point.
Yeah.
And then dropped the rest of the weight when I started doing CrossFit.
Yeah. So where are you at right now?
I hover around 205, 215, around there.
Nice.
Consistently.
Nice.
But since about 5 years ago, I think I started tracking my food, and so it makes it a lot easier now to maintain weight if you track what you eat.
Smart. No sugar.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But you'd be surprised how many people or how many times I get this comment of how they miss Fat Pete now. Like I start talking about anything fitness related or nutrition related, and somebody like Bobby will say, "God, I miss Fat Pete."
Yeah.
Such a douchebag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Fat Pete was fun loving.
He was a
good time.
He was a lot funner.
He was a good
May have been an alcoholic.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
He was here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. Could have been like the Chris Farley route, or
he didn't have a lot of years left in him.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Nice. So we don't think we covered it when on your intro. You worked the gang unit. What other assignments did you work?
Oh, yeah. So I worked. Just went over training. This is my now second stint in training, but did a few years on patrol, then went to the gang unit. Was there for a while. Did the FBI task force for a while. Went back to patrol after training, and then after patrol, got promoted to detective. Did a few assignments like special victims and DEA task force, and then got promoted to sergeant about 4 years ago, and just patrol sergeant and academy after that.
Now you're the academy coordinator.
Yeah,
nice.
So now I get to preach to people about not being fat. I do tell the story of becoming fat for every academy, and then there's always a few that start going down the same life path that I took.
Yeah.
And you just watch them start to expand.
Yeah.
You have
to get advice. A couple of people, hey, will you go tell so-and-so how fat he is?
Yeah. Now it's on me, because I was in there the other day, and one of the DTAC officers was in there, and he was doing jump rope or something, and I saw his titty bouncing up and down. So I feel like I owe it to other people now.
Yeah.
To shame them.
It's a service.
And just the ones that I know can take it. But he was one of the ones, and he has worked out consistently for the month since I made the fat comment to him.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. He knows who he is.
Nice. All right. So we worked a gang unit together. I think you'd been in the gang unit when I got in. You'd been in for a year or two when I came. And I talked about this once before when I was brand new in the gang unit, and I was like, I didn't really know you that well. And you were one of the senior guys, so I was like kind of nervous because I was new, and I was like riding with the senior guy, and we were driving along, and one of our partners pulled up alongside us, and you were driving, windows down, and I was passenger seat, and he pulled up along the driver's side, and he like hook shots this like 44-ounce fountain drink of strawberry Fanta, and like it was like a miracle shot, but he like you had your window open, and he hit the like right between the B pillar, like in front of the B pillar on the frame of the window, and this fountain drink exploded all over you.
It was like a JFK perfect grassy knoll shot.
Yeah, it was precision. Yeah, because I was right next to you, and I didn't get a single drop on me somehow.
It hit perfectly to where I got all 44 ounces of soda.
Yeah, and you
all over me.
And you were Fat Pete at the time, so there were probably some crevices and areas that soda.
I can't get out at that point. It's stuck. It's going to be there for years. I have to get washed down.
Yeah, so you're driving. I'm like new and like whatever, don't know what I'm doing, and you pull over. You pulled into this alley. You pulled over, and then you pulled into this back alley, and you pulled over and you parked the car, and you were all mad. And you were sitting there quiet with your eyes closed and just pissed off. And we have the gang unit has our own private radio channel that doesn't get broadcast to the rest of the department. And on that radio channel, the Fanta song came over. I was like, "Wanna Fanta? Don't you wanna?" And you like reach over and you turn the radio off and all mad, and you close your eyes. And I'm just sitting there like all awkward. And again, I don't really know you, so like I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm just like I don't know what to do with my hands, like. And then we had Nextel chirp phones, the walkie-talkies, and your phone goes, and then wanna Fanta, don't you want? And then like you pulled your phone out and you like turn the phone off all mad, and you like throw it on the dash. And I'm like, dude, this is getting real awkward. And then I'm sitting there all quiet, and then like my Nextel phone goes, chirp, wanna Fanta. And you look over at me, you're like, turn your fucking phone off. So I turned my phone off, and then we sat there for like 5 minutes or so.
Just steaming, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was tough.
I would say that anybody that gets 44 ounces of sticky strawberry Fanta all over them would be maybe not that mad, but
it's like a hot summer day too.
It's nasty.
Yeah, it's real angry. Anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of those gang unit things that have occurred. There's some computer. What are the rules? Tell us about the computer rules.
So whatever happened to you, if you were
internal rule,
if you were a victim of some sort of
what do you do with your computer?
You always lock your computer.
Yeah.
You never leave it out, especially if you're in the bathroom.
You have to.
You
have to get up and go to the bathroom, and you're going to be gone for 30 seconds. You lock it.
If you walk to the trash can, you close it at least.
Yeah.
That way they can't get up to it, because you can do some stuff pretty quick on the computer to mess with somebody's day.
Yeah.
And that was always a rule. And if they got you, if somehow you were victimized by one of your coworkers, it had to stay for 7 days. And that was a hard rule.
Yeah.
There was no getting around that.
You had to leave. And it's not just computer things. It was other things that would happen too.
Anything was there was a 7-day rule.
Yeah.
I completely taped Tim's desk.
Yeah.
With everything with evidence tape. The entire desk, everything shut. And then Justin, for some reason, spelled tape on top of the tape that was already there in like blue masking tape, just so we knew what it was.
It was tape. Yeah. Yeah, but that also applied to other things, because when you're the new guy, you had to share a desk. There wasn't enough desks for everybody, so the two newest people had to share a desk, and they worked opposite schedules. So like you're there like on your days off, but one day a week you would overlap. And I come in one day and I open up, and there's this really obscene picture of two gentlemen, and somebody like laughed at me or whatever, and I closed it. And then like weeks go by, maybe like a month later, like I was doing something and I open up the drawer and it's still there. And they're like, why do you still have that in there? It's like, I hadn't moved it. And I was like, well,
I like it.
Well, no, because I was the new guy,
cool.
so I had to share a desk. I had to share it with Danny. And I was like, no, this is me and Danny share this desk. I don't want to mess with his stuff.
I remember, I think we all got different pictures, but mine was a hefty woman, completely nude.
Yeah.
In a vulnerable position.
Yeah. Yep, that's about right. So anyways, talk to you about the computer. So if you leave it unlocked, you get got. You can't turn it off for a week, or you can't take whatever has happened to it.
Yeah,
for
so
a week.
like
The purpose of that is so everyone else can enjoy it.
Yeah, so everybody else sees it, and you're made fun of for at least 7 days. So everybody gets a laugh out of it. There was all kinds of stuff that went on the computers, but the most common, I think, was changing somebody's screensaver. That was the easy one. That was just a quick Google, and you were off to some sort of rainbow or.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was one guy who they did the same thing with the screensaver trick. So they took they screenshotted his screensaver.
You mean his desktop?
Or his desktop, yeah. The screenshot of the desktop. And then they took the picture of the screenshot and they set it as the background for his desktop. And then they took all the icons that were on there and they created a new folder and they put all of the icons in the folder and then moved the folder off down into the corner where you couldn't see it.
Yeah. And
so then like when he would come in and he would like open up his computer and he'd go to like click on the icons, they didn't exist because it's just a screenshot of the computer.
Yeah,
and he had to actually go to IT to like get it fixed.
Figure it out.
Couldn't figure out what was wrong with this computer.
Did he tell you what the IT people said to him?
No, nobody asked.
Listen, you idiot.
He was never going to say anything. Yeah.
Anything else with computers?
I remember one of my favorites was the narrator, the Microsoft narrator. So you could turn on their narrator app and it would narrate everything that they did on the computer back to them. So I think it's for deaf people, but
it's
but
for
you
blind people.
Well, yeah, deaf people probably can't hear it.
They could never hear it.
Yeah, deaf people wouldn't be able to hear it.
Yeah,
it's like an accessibility thing. Yeah,
but you could hide the narration tab on there, and nobody could figure out how turn it off until they hit like end task. They went to their tasks and turned it off. But it would like everything you did, it would start narrating.
That'd be super annoying.
Yeah. You could like invert the screen too.
There was a way to like control it, turn it upside down, or like mess with your keys. Somebody got me not too long ago. When I was a patrol sergeant and blacked out all my buttons on my keyboard, and I couldn't figure that shit out for a while.
Tough. Especially for working nights.
Yeah, I was on shift 1. I was
Get your flashlight out of your computer.
I had to roll around with my fucking dome light on the whole time until he finally fixed it for me like a week later. I don't want to say anything either. I don't want to give them.
Yeah, you can't let them know. Especially if it bothers you, you can't say anything.
Yeah, because if it bothers you, then they just do it more.
Yeah.
Instant somebody realizes that bothers you, like it's game on.
Yeah, it's piranhas. Yeah, there's blood in the water.
Blood in the water. Yeah.
So anyways, you were before modern technologies made photoshopping pretty simple, but early, probably 2010, 2011 timeframe, photoshopping wasn't so simple.
No, it was a lot more difficult back then. We didn't have the same dick cropping software that you guys have today.
These damn Gen Zers have.
Yeah. I'm not sure how
back
many
in my day.
Yeah, how many dicks you guys have on your phones. Just like a
lot.
None
of them are mine.
File
in your phone.
Just
special
album full of them.
Yeah,
all different colors and sizes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they have that in there. I'm sure Cameron has them. Fuji probably has a huge library of dicks
for sure.
But we had to. So back when we first started doing Photoshop in the gang unit, we had to get there, and I would get there like 3 hours early, and you always know who was getting ready to make one because they would show up early too. So it was like me and Josh, and I'm looking over, not knowing what he's making, worried he's going to make something of me. But we'd sit there, and I had like a art set in my desk. It was like a glue stick and like scissors, like kid scissors, and like this scalpel to cut the pictures out.
But we'd have tube of glitter.
Yeah, everything. So we'd have to print all the pictures out we were going to use, and then like really expertly cut out what we were going to use from the picture. And then Josh actually came up with this technique. If I was going to replace my head with Travis's, I would make a slit like right there under his jawline, and I would keep my neck on there so I could just like slide my face into that spot. So it made it a little bit easier when we did the scanning.
Yeah.
But we'd sit there, we'd do that, we'd glue stick it down, and then we'd scan the image in, then it would go to Paint, which was a shitty software anyway. Yeah. And we'd have to like pixel by pixel make sure it was
seamless.
Yeah, seamless. Yeah. A seamless transition from like two dudes in a Miata with new faces.
Yeah.
Having a party.
Dang, that's intense.
Yeah, because Alex, who we had on before, he had a picture on his desk, and it was like a family photo, and it was like him and his wife and the 3 kids, and like professionally done family photo.
They're at a restaurant. It's a nice Mexican restaurant. It's they're having a fun time as a family.
Yeah,
and it's captured in this nice photograph on his desk.
And he had it framed on his desk. And like one day they had messed with it, and he didn't notice for months. He didn't realize it, but they had taken his head and they cropped his head off, and they put Jeff's head in there as Jeff smoking a cigar.
Yeah,
with his wife and
wife and his kids.
I remember I did one. We had one female in our unit back then, and sometimes we'd make fun of the size of her hands, manos hombres. But there was one where I took a picture of Jeff pissing in the urinal in the gang unit bathroom, and he's like turned around, and then so I photoshopped her face on his body. And that was a little word bubble that said, "Come help me with this monster, big boy." That was one of my favorites. It's still her, like to this day on my phone. It's still what shows up when she calls me.
That's like nice.
All right. You had a story about a gentleman bank robber. How did you come across this?
His nickname. So we did a lot of search warrants in the gang unit. This one wasn't really a gangster search warrant. It was kind of a community project search warrant that this dude was selling marijuana to kids in the area. So we were tasked with stopping this criminal mastermind from selling marijuana around this neighborhood. So I remember putting in the work, getting the search warrant, hitting the house. We ended up finding like 50 pounds of weed in this guy's house. But in the back of the house...
And what year was this?
Probably like 2010, 2011. This is a long time ago.
When it was still a crime.
When selling marijuana was still a crime. That was a big thing back then.
I mean, it's still technically illegal, but...
Yeah, I guess.
But nobody cares.
Yeah, but 15 years ago, people cared.
People did care a lot. So it was a weird house. Like when we did the search warrant, there was a mix of like preteen boys and this one drug dealer. But in the back, there was this shed. And it was just a dilapidated old wooden shed with like a tarp for a front door. And there was a poop bucket in there for him to go to the bathroom. Didn't appear like he was allowed inside the house. But we brought him in anyway during the search warrant. And during that, he starts telling us this story of his criminal background. And apparently in the 50s and 60s, he was this very famous bank robber around the western states. So he went around from city to city, and he would rob banks, and he ended up getting a lot of federal time for it. And he'd just gotten out of custody for this long series of bank robberies. But he said his signature was he was always very polite to all the cashiers of the banks. Yeah. So he earned the nickname Gentleman Bandit because he was always so polite and so nice to everybody. And so we were talking to him, and he starts complaining about him being in handcuffs because he's not involved in this. Mm-hmm. And Sergeant Scott, our sergeant at the time, for some reason gets angry with him, and he says, "Well, you wouldn't be in this situation if you didn't live in a fucking shack in somebody's backyard." And that set this dude off, and he goes, "Yeah, well, fuck you and fuck your mother." That wasn't very gentlemanly of you. That was the same time when Justin was there, and I'd never seen this guy was very small, and he like literally picked this guy up like he was nothing and just like carried him outside because he screamed at the sergeant.
Yeah. Oh, Justin.
Yeah.
There was a fun little sort of game that used to get played of a cereal box game.
I feel like that was just a me and you game.
Yeah.
It was so when we were
participants in this one.
It may have caught on at some point, but I just only remember playing with Travis. So we would go around and try and find. The goal was for me to be able to do this in character. Like I have to be able to have a full conversation with this homeless person or this crazy person without laughing.
Prostitute,
drug
addict,
whoever the street people, these gypsies. Mm-hmm. So we would go around and like I would give him a cereal box character, and he would have to come up like, we're gonna do Captain Crunch today. Okay, cool. So he had to come up with like a crime that Captain Crunch had committed and give a full description of Captain Crunch to this person.
This person, if they've seen the person that you're looking for,
and you're describing them to a T, and you can't break character, you can't laugh. So we had to stay serious. So that was the game.
Part of the game was you wouldn't know beforehand what the other person, what character they were using. So there's two elements. Yeah. You're saying it to this person, but then also if I'm doing it, you're trying to guess which cereal box character we're discussing at that time.
So it could be anybody. Count Chocula, the Lucky Charms leprechaun, anybody.
So does the game end when your partner, like Captain Crunch, he calls it? He's like, "Yep, you got it," and then you just drive away, and this guy's like, "What just happened?"
That's pretty much. But the majority of the time, they knew exactly who we were talking about because they were batshit crazy, and they would tell us like the last time they saw this person and where they were at.
Yeah, like actual real person.
Yeah, we'd be telling him describing Count Chocula about how he's running around biting people.
He's got a cape. He's pale. Yeah.
And then, I just saw that dude. He was like 3 blocks over.
You're describing him. He's like, he's pale. He's wearing a cape. And then like, are you talking about the skinny one or the fat one? Like, how many of these people are out there?
How many people wear capes in this neighborhood? That was a fun one, though.
It was a good time. I did Jesse Vehicle-Berg later, I guess. Let's pause real quick. Cool. All right, Pete. Well, thank you for coming out and talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening, and stay frosty.